conservative new media viewers and Jeremy Lin fans around the world. What's going on? We are here to discuss Houston's 82-78 loss tonight to the Memphis Grizzlies in Houston, Texas. With the loss, Houston falls to 44-35. Now, I think that in order to secure the 7th seed in the Western Conference playoffs, we need to win 46 games. We have 3 games left. That means we need to win 2 of the last 3 games. We should be able to do that. But tonight was a little bit of a lost opportunity, but we're still in a good position to do that. Right now, the key thing is to hold off the Lakers. It's great if we get the 6th seed, but we might do better against the Spurs at number 2 than we would against the Nuggets at number 3. So the main thing I'm concerned about is holding off the Lakers at this period in time. Now, this was a really difficult loss, but I'm really not that upset about it. And I'll talk more about that as we go along. There were a lot of positive things in this game. This was a good learning experience game against a very good team that plays a great defense. And look, the team was down 19 points in this game, 49-30, late in the second quarter, I believe. And they came all the way back and tied the game and had a chance to win it. So I'm just not that disappointed in this loss, even though I would have liked to have won. The team showed fight. They showed poise. They show they can be a real difficult team to deal with in the playoffs. Now, the game wasn't over until James Harden had 2 turnovers and 2 missed shot attempts in the last minute and 33 left in the game after Jeremy Lin tied the game at 78-78 with a big three-pointer with a minute 33 left in the contest. Again, I want to thank Gary Chen of Taiwan for this excellent artwork you're looking at. Nice work, Gary. I also want to thank Hanny Chang and the Lin Garden Jeremy Lin fan club for helping to make Gary's artwork available for us. You will find more information about Gary, Hanny, and Lin Garden in the video description below the video player. I also want to thank JJ of Jeremy Lin Forum on Baidu for the translation work that JJ has done for us. JJ, you've done a great job, and we really appreciate it. So thanks a lot for that. It's very much appreciated. Chandler Bieber Parsons was again out of this game with a strained calf. And if you saw Chandler on the sidelines, he was kind of rocking some blue shoes and a blue polka dot shirt. And, it's a different type of look. You don't see a lot of guys wearing blue shoes with like a brown or a black blazer. But, look, it's Bieber. He can get away with more things than other people can. So it was just interesting. It'll be good to get him back on the court. So hopefully he'll be able to heal up soon. But we did have Carlos Delfino back, and as he played a reserve role tonight behind Francisco Garcia, who started once again. Terrence Jones, the man formerly known to me as Thomas Jones in the last video, did a really nice job tonight. He had 7 points and 12 rebounds in 27 minutes. I mean, you can see the ability that he has. And not only is he athletic, he hit that huge three-pointer later in the game. And this guy's going to be very, very good. He certainly has the ability to be very good. And it's just exciting how much young talent is on this team. And I think Terrence Jones is going to be a big part of Houston's future. Unless he were to get traded for somebody that's already an established player, like a Josh Smith or, something like this. But, Terrence Jones has a lot of ability. James Harden had 30 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, but he shot just 7 of 24 from the field. He had 8 turnovers in the game, and he really struggled at the very end of the game. You know what, though? I know a lot of people want me to be mad at McHale, mad at Harden. I'm really not. And the reason is this. They both messed up, right? Harden blew it at the end of the game, and he knows he did. I always say you learn more from failure than success. And when you fail the way that Harden did down the stretch of this game, he got too cocky. He wanted to go one-on-one against Tony Allen, and he messed up. And if you saw Harden when he was walking off the floor towards the tunnel, he kind of yelled, because he was mad. He knows he blew it. So it's like, it's almost better that he messed up like this, because that's going to help him make better decisions in the future. So I'm kind of glad it happened, because if he has succeeded, then he would keep doing what he did in this game at the end, which doesn't work. So it's almost better that it failed. As far as McHale goes, because he apparently called plays for James Harden and you got 2 turnovers and 2 misses, maybe next time you'll pass the ball to the guy that hit the three-pointer with 1:33 left. So, again, I wanted to win. I'm disappointed we lost, but the failure will help steer the ship towards Jeremy in the future. Again, I don't want James Harden or Coach McHale to fail just to help Jeremy, but because they failed, it will go more towards Jeremy in the future. And that's good. So, even though we lost, the correct outcome should come about because of the loss. So, that's the easiest way to say it. Again, look, Jeremy's not going to get every shot down the stretch because James Harden's a better scorer. But if Jeremy's hot, and we all know he's clutch, give him a shot. And that didn't happen here, and, we didn't win. So it's, I think things will be different the next time around. Again, though, there was a lot of positives in this loss. A lot. A ton of them. Big comeback. We showed a lot of fight and a lot of heart in this game. And again, a lot of it comes down to Jeremy. So let's turn to Jeremy now. Jeremy played an excellent game. It wasn't quite Linsanity 2.0, but it's right on the verge. I'm not quite going to give it to him, but it's right there. And even though I know his shooting percentage wasn't that good, and he struggled in the first part of the fourth quarter, but then he really did well the rest of the fourth quarter. Jeremy had 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 45 minutes of playing. He was 5 of 13 shooting from the field, including 2 of 5 from three-point range. He was 5 of 6 from the free throw line. He had no steals, 1 block shot, 4 turnovers, 5 personal fouls. His plus-minus was -2. His efficiency number was 15. Jeremy played better slightly than Mike Conley, who was the starting point guard for Memphis. Conley came into this game on a pretty hot streak, and Jeremy really contained him. Conley finished with 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 36 minutes, but he only shot 4 of 14 from the field. And Jeremy really played great defense in this game. Really played excellent defense, including on Mike Conley. Everybody that Jeremy was guarding tonight had a tough time against him. Everybody. And that was a big part of the comeback in this game. Again, I'll talk some more about that in a little bit. Now, if you noticed at the start of this game, if you were watching the Houston feed, which was what I was watching, Greg Smith went up. The camera was following Greg Smith. And then Greg Smith went up to Jeremy to kind of like high-five him before the game, but Jeremy was praying. Jeremy said he prays before the game. You could see him there, and he just kept praying until he was done, and then he shook hands with Greg Smith. So, Jeremy's very focused, very serious about his religion, and you can see it right there. We've seen this with other athletes. A lot of guys play sports, like Tim Tebow. You'll see him praying before a play or something, and it's good. It's good to see Jeremy. He's not afraid to show what he's about, and that's good. Now, in the first 8 minutes of this game, Jeremy had at least 5 blown assists. Now, again, a blown assist is when you pass the ball to a guy and either he misses a shot or else he gets fouled after you pass the ball. He gets fouled going for a shot. So, in other words, they're blown assists because you don't get an assist. If the guy shoots free throws and makes them, you don't get an assist on that. If a guy misses the shot when you pass the ball, you don't get an assist. So I've seen people on different forums like Real GM and Clutch fans and Jeremy can't run a good offense. Actually, he runs a really good offense, but he can't make guys hit their shots. So if guys don't hit shots, Jeremy's assists don't look that good. So it's, I think the haters understand Jeremy runs a good offense, but they just don't want to see it or they don't want to admit it. But again, that just the 5 blown assists in the first 8 minutes just give you an idea of how well he sets guys up. And guys are getting wide open shots from Jeremy and good layup attempts. And, sometimes they make them and sometimes they miss them. It was a lot better in this game to have Greg Smith and Terrence Jones guarding Zach Randolph than Carlos Delfino, as we saw in the last game. Look, if it's still difficult. Zach Randolph is one of those guys. I talked about Andre Miller of the Denver Nuggets having old man game. Well, that's what Zach Randolph's like. He can't jump. He's not athletic, but boy, can he play. He just can hit jump shots and he can rebound everything. And I'm just glad Carlos Delfino wasn't guarding him tonight like he was in the last game. Now, Jeremy, as I mentioned, played 45 minutes, which is a huge amount. That's all but 3 minutes of the game. You don't want to play 45 minutes every night. That's too much. But it was okay in this game, and he played the entire second quarter, the entire third quarter, and the entire fourth quarter. Mikhail clearly has more confidence in him, and he should. And so, this was the third straight game that he's played both the entire second quarter and the entire third quarter. And now Mikhail played on the whole fourth quarter too. So Mikhail's gaining more confidence in Jeremy. And as we talked about before, Jeremy's knee's better. So his conditioning is better and he can play longer, without risking injury. And that's really important. Another thing, two more things that are really important about Jeremy playing this many minutes is, one, if you notice tonight, he played mostly, not except for that stretch in the fourth quarter and one little stretch in the second quarter. Jeremy played very calm tonight. He didn't try to do too much. You didn't see a lot of full court, half court passes, and he played quick, but not super quick. And that's important. One of the things that you learn as you play basketball is how to play in a way that you save your energy. You don't waste energy. Now, a lot of times we talk about Jeremy's got to play full speed and all this stuff, and sometimes it almost seems like he's playing too quick. Well, tonight he didn't do that, except for just a couple stretches. And that's really important. And the calmer you can play, the more energy you save. So if you want to play 40 minutes a night, you got to know how to save your energy. And that's what I saw out of Jeremy tonight. And that's really good. The second thing about playing 45 minutes is because Mikhail is using Patrick Beverley more with Jeremy, that lets Jeremy rest more because he doesn't have to bring the ball up on offense. He doesn't have to take the ball from inbounds and dribble all the way up the court. That saves energy. So there's a couple different things contributing to Jeremy being able to play more minutes now, and it's working. And Mikhail's doing it. So I know a lot of people are upset with Mikhail, but believe me, he's coming around completely on Jeremy, and he's, it's getting better. He's trusting Jeremy more, and it's going to get better and better. One thing I noticed in this game, James Harden is respecting Jeremy more as the point guard. And I don't think Harden has the same level of respect towards Patrick Beverley as he does towards Jeremy. Now, that's too bad for Patrick Beverley. In other words, James Harden will dribble the ball more when Patrick Beverley's playing point. But it's good for Jeremy. And I think that, again, Harden is learning. Jeremy's the guy. Jeremy's the guy that should be dribbling the ball more. Now, we saw Harden plenty of times tonight take control, of the offense, play point, do some turnover brick ball, but he's deferring to Jeremy more, and it's going to get better and better. And look, Jeremy's proven it. He's proven it why he should do it. So, again, I thought Jeremy was much calmer and under control than most of the rest of the players on the team tonight. And again, it's a young team. They don't have a lot of experience. It's easy to get rattled and shook up, and they need leadership. And that's what Jeremy's doing. And he's really, really getting more confident that Mikhail's confident in him. He's getting more confident in his game. He's getting more confident in his knee, and you can see it. And he's ahead of most of the players on the team in that way, including Harden in a lot of ways. So it's great. As I mentioned, Jeremy played great defense in this game. Really good defense. He guarded in this game. Basically, he guarded Mike Conley, Jared Bayless, and Keon Dooling. And none of them did well against him. I mean, there was a stretch in the second quarter, I believe, where Jared Bayless was torching James Harden. I mean, he scored several baskets quickly against Harden, while he scored almost nothing against Lin. So Jeremy's defense is really improving, as well as the whole rest of his game. So it was great. Another thing with Jeremy in this game was that Jeremy was committed to trying to get rebounds in this game on when Houston was playing defense. Now, early in the year, Jeremy got a lot of rebounds, but then he kind of went away from that. And my guess with that is because he wanted to get back, or he wanted to get out in transition. And then when Houston was on offense, he wanted to be able to get back and play defense. It's, in other words, making a decision that I'm going to back off a little bit here just so I'm in position to play defense if the other team gets the ball. And that's smart. But tonight, I think he knew that the team needed him to do that, and he did it, and he did it well. If you saw in the middle of the third quarter, the Houston feed showed that Jeremy had his hand around James Harden, around his waist. He was showing him something. He was showing him like a play or what Memphis was doing and whatever. And again, this is leadership. Not only does Jeremy do this with the other guys, he does it with James, who is the main guy on the team. And that's good. And this is what I talked about in the Denver video, 77 game, that Jeremy's going to lead the team. The team's going to become Jeremy's team. Jeremy's not going to be a bigger star than James Harden in the short term anyway, but he's going to control the ball more on offense, and he's going to be the guy that's the leader. He's going to point stuff out and tell guys what to do more and more. And you're seeing it already. You can already see it. And that was an example of it there in the middle of the third quarter with James Harden in timeout. Once Jeremy gets a more consistent jump shot, And once he's able to draw fouls a little bit better. Now, look, he shot 6 free throws tonight. That's very good. That's better than Lincini 1.0 average, which was like 5 free throws a game. Once he gets those two things, the jump shot and consistently able to draw fouls, he's going to be able to score whatever he wants. Now, again, don't expect him to score 30 points a game or anything, or he probably won't even score 20, but he's going to be able to score when he wants, as much as he wants. And honestly, in a game like tonight, that would have helped the team. They needed scoring, but again, Jeremy's jump shot still needs some work, and he struggled with it in the last game, and I know Soul Glow was talking about Jeremy's elbow, and it's true. It might be his elbow bothering him on his jump shot. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But when he's comfortable with that shot, and he can get foul calls when he wants, he's going to be able to score so easily. I mean, it'll amaze you at how easily he's going to be able to score. Now, again, that doesn't mean he's going to put up ridiculous numbers, but he's going to be able to score when he wants to score and score easily without spending a lot of energy or getting crushed and knocked to the floor and these types of things. So it's great. I can't remember when this was. Early in the fourth, I believe. Jeremy, again, James Harden got a technical foul. He got called for a foul call and was really unhappy. And you saw Jeremy just grab a hold of James Harden and pull him away, because Harden had already gotten a technical. And as I told you guys before, if you get 2 technicals, you're tossed from the game. And that was, again, more leadership and more intelligent play and decision-making from Jeremy. This is your best guy on the team. You can't let him get himself kicked out of the game. And so Jeremy, did the right thing, get him out of there. And, you saw Harden say to Jeremy, I'm fine, I'm okay, man. But, that's what you should do. That's what the leaders do, and that's what Jeremy did, and that was great. And sometimes you'll see guys do that. Like, one teammate will pull away another teammate. Sometimes a teammate gets mad at the guy that pulled him away. But you didn't see, Harden didn't do that. That's respect. He respects Lin, and he's respecting him more and more, and it's going to get better and better. Now, as I said, Jeremy struggled for about the first 8 minutes of the fourth quarter. It's just, look, Memphis is a great defensive team. They were clamping down, and Jeremy was just a little bit off, and he made some poor decisions. He had all 4 of his turnovers in the fourth quarter. But from about 4 minutes on till the end of the game, Jeremy was great. And that's Mr. Fourth Quarter. I mean, he just, he took over in a lot of ways. And that's what he does. And again, I'm sure that there's a part of James Harden that wants to be the guy and, not defer to somebody. It's like LeBron deferring to Dwayne Wade in the past, right? LeBron didn't like that. He didn't want to do that. And that's part of the ego of a young player like James Harden. In the future, that'll get better. Some of it's just, these guys are young. Everybody wants to be the guy, and Harden wants to be the guy, and he wants to, he's challenged by Tony Allen, and he wants to strike back. That'll get better in time. It will get better in time. And I think James Harden and Coach McHale will realize, look, you've got this guy on your team who's already proven how clutch he is. Let him do it. That doesn't mean you don't take any shots or you don't call any plays for Harden, but you've already got a guy that can do that. Let him do it. And they will. It will get better. As I said, I'm glad we failed in it tonight, because that means you're going to have to try to do something different the next time. So, good. Jeremy hit that massive three-pointer with 1:33 left in the game to tie the score at 78-78. He was about 30 degrees left of the top of the arc and about 2 feet behind the line, or at least. That was probably a 26, 27-foot shot, and he nailed it. And the place went crazy. And it looked really good then. And, then it didn't work out. But I said, I'm not, Jeremy did what he needed to do. And That's the important thing. That people will remember that, and his teammates and the coaching staff will remember that too. Another great thing was that Jeremy didn't look tired at the end of the game. I mean, he played 45 minutes, and he really didn't look tired. That's incredibly impressive. And then again, better conditioning, better pacing of his energy. He wasn't tired. He was cool. And that's really, really, really a good sign. Remember, people just 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, Jeremy's conditioning, he gets tired, now look at him. Now the guy's like Iron Man, and, he's playing the most minutes of anybody. So it's why I'm happy. Jeremy's improved so much this year, improving everything, and come back from the knee. You just don't see this very often. That's why some people say, he's not going to be whatever, and he's not going to be a star, or whatever. It's like, there's just not that many guys that have improved so much within 1 year. Now, again, sure, Jeremy could reach his plateau and he doesn't get any better, but he's not even close to that. He's not. And it's like, if he can continue this type of improvement, in 2 years, 3 years, he's going to be unbelievable. And he's already good. So it's really exciting. Really, really exciting. And look, this game was a big game. You're playing against a serious team. You're playing against one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the NBA. And Memphis played hard tonight, real hard. And they wanted to win this game badly. And you stood up to them. You're playing against one of the best defenses in the NBA. Jeremy had some struggles, but then he bounced back. It's like, honestly, you can't get much better a big game experience than a game like this, particularly in the regular season. This was like a playoff game, and it's going to help Jeremy a lot going forward. And I'm thrilled. I'm totally content because I can see what Jeremy's doing and how much he's growing. It's incredible. It's incredible for him to go from what he was and what people were saying about him and where his body was at the beginning of the year to where he's at now. Is just, I've almost never seen it before. And I've watched the NBA for a very, very, very long time and watched really good players develop. And I can almost never recall anybody developing this much in one season, during the season. It's amazing. 3-point shooting, knee healing, being able to play more minutes, learning a whole new offense, becoming a leader. It's amazing. It's incredible. And it's great. And it signifies that there are some very big things in the future for Jeremy Lin, which we already know that. But it's happening maybe even quicker than we thought. Okay, let's do quarter by quarter. Early in the first, Jeremy went to the basket, did that nice little fake, the fake that he does to get the guy, running past him, and just hit a nice little kind of short little runner with his right hand. Middle of the first, he did the same move. He was going on the right-hand side of the lane, did a little pump fake, which means, you fake like you're going to shoot so the defender will go up in the air, or basically. And then he tried to draw a foul. He didn't get the foul call, but he hit a shot, basically a little shot off of the glass, which is known as a bank shot. Off the glass bank shot. He hit an off the dribble set shot from about 20 degrees right of the top of the arc. It was basically a foot or two inside of the 3-point line. Now, I say it's a set shot because he had his feet set. He had dribbled into the position, but then he stopped. So it's not quite a catch and shoot because no one passed it to him. It was more of a standstill shot, but he had dribbled to get to that position. Early in this game, Jeremy was really the main offensive weapon for Houston because Harden was just off. I mean, again, he only shot 7 of 24, which is poor, and early on he couldn't hit anything. I mean, so they were using Jeremy more, and that's where I was saying if Jeremy's jump shot were a little bit better, and when it is, he's going to be able to score at will. I mean, he could have racked up 3-4 more baskets easy just in that period of time because they didn't have anybody else that could score right then. So that will come. That will come. I'm sure of that. Jeremy started the second quarter. Oh, actually, I didn't mention. He came out of the game in the end of the first, about 2 or 3 minutes left, and it was just to rest him. It wasn't for any performance issues. He played great in the first quarter. It was only because they wanted to rest him. He started the second quarter with Patrick Beverley. So it was James Harden was resting, and it was Patrick playing point guard, Jeremy playing shooting guard. He got a nice block shot against Jared Bayless about 5 feet from the basket, I believe early in the second quarter. In the middle of the second quarter, Jeremy got the ball. I think it was like a long rebound or kind of a turnover. Teams were fighting for the ball. The ball came out almost to mid-court on the right-hand side of the court. And Jeremy saw James Harden right under the basket and just made a great pass. I mean, it's probably, a 40-foot pass. And I think it was in the air. I don't think it was a bounce pass. I think it was through the air. Got him. Harden was literally about 2 feet from the basket. And Jeremy saw him. Great pass into him. Nice little easy layup. I mean, that's just a phenomenal play. Again, a lot of guys can't make that pass. They cannot make passes like that in the same way that they can't make full court passes the way that Jeremy can. Soon after that play, Jeremy was fouled on a fast break by Keon Dooling, and Keon Dooling basically just gave up. I mean, Jeremy was coming at him. He knew that's what I said. If Jeremy has a head of steam, if he has momentum, there's almost nobody in the league that can stay with him. Particularly if there's, playing defense and trying to move sideways while Jeremy's going full speed ahead. So Keon Dooling just fouled him like, I can't do anything here, which he couldn't. And Jeremy got 2 free throws, and he made both of them. I made a note here that it was important for Jeremy to play point guard in this game if Houston was going to have a chance to win it, meaning Jeremy's skill set was important for this game at point guard. As good as Patrick Beverley is and can be, Jeremy has a better ability to pass, and he's bigger. And as I've told you guys before, Memphis is a big, physical team. They like to beat you up, wear you down. So you need somebody a little bit bigger to deal with that. And Jeremy is bigger than Patrick Beverley is. I also noticed, and I said this before, Jeremy was moving around less on defense when his man didn't have the ball. What that's called is roaming, R-O-A-M, like, where the lions roam. So it just means kind of moving around, shifting around, and he was doing less of that, which is good. We've talked about in the past, sometimes on help defense, Jeremy moves around too much. If you move around too much, your guy's going to be open for 3-point shots. And he was doing better with that tonight. I thought that was really good and part of the very good defense that Jeremy played in this game. At this point in the game, from the mid to the late second quarter, Jared Bayless was torching James Harden on defense. With Jared Bayless playing offense and James Harden playing defense. And look, it's, Harden's going to have to play better defense in the future. He's capable of it. He'll get better at it. It's, as I said, Harden's played a couple years in Oklahoma City. He made all the sacrifices. He had to come off the bench. He had to let Durant and Westbrook get all the glory. Now it's like, now he's, now he wants to be the guy and have freedom and score. And he needs to get back to better habits, but he will. He will. It's like I said, you're talking about a 23-year-old guy. He'll get better. He'll get better. As frustrating as it can be to watch sometimes, believe me, it'll get better. Late in the second quarter, I can't mid or the late, the referees, unfortunately, James Harden made a really nice save of a ball going out of bounds, and he passed it ahead to Jeremy for a layup, but the referees said that James Harden was out of bounds when he touched the ball, which was not true. When you looked at the replay, it was just that wasn't the case. Soon around that point in time, too, I mean, James Harden at this point had gotten into kind of a bad little rut, the ISO turnover ball. And he was just kind of, he was doing the thing where he'll just throw the shots up and hope he gets fouled. And if he doesn't get fouled, then it looks ridiculous. And at this point, late in the second, we were kind of getting that a little bit more. And James Harden was getting torched by Bayless. So this all led to Houston being down by 19 points. As I said, I think it was 49-30. And, Jeremy, through almost the entire first half, he made one little mistake or two close to the half, close to the end of the second quarter. But he was the calmest, most steady player for Houston in the first half. I'm not saying it was the most spectacular, but that's what you want. That's particularly what you want from your point guard. As I said, the point guard sets the tone. And this is why McHale's playing him more, because Jeremy's starting to calm down. And now that Jeremy's getting more minutes, guess what? He's also calmer because he knows he's going to play, and he doesn't have to worry about if he's going to get benched. So these things, it feeds itself. You get more minutes, you play, you're calmer because you're getting more minutes, and you play better because you're playing calmer, and it just feeds itself. And again, I give credit to the coaching staff. I think they have finally realized Jeremy's the guy. No controversies, no starter, no nothing. You have to have Jeremy on the court to maximize this team. And I think the coaching staff knows it. And I think Jeremy knows that the coaching staff knows it. And so he can play more relaxed because he knows he's not going to get pulled. And that's really, really important. Jeremy began the third quarter. And as I said, he played the entire third quarter again for the third straight game. He had an excellent bounce pass in traffic, meaning, with guys around, to Greg Smith on a fast break for a nice dunk. I mean, it was just such a great pass. I don't remember exactly it was, but again, it was between 12 minutes left and 8 minutes left in the third quarter. So if you see the highlight, guys, you'll see that pass. Just a terrific play. And I think it was a no-look pass, like Jeremy looked away. The reason why guys look away, sometimes guys do it just to be flashy, to make it look so cool. But the basketball reason, the tactical reason why you do that is because then they don't know where you're going to pass to. If you're looking in one direction, people expect you to pass in the direction that you're looking. And so it fools people, and they don't expect it. That's the reason practically why you do that, why no-look passes work. Middle of the third, Jeremy had a nice pass to James Harden for a very long three-pointer, about 4 feet behind the line, right at the top of the key. That came with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. I made a note here that James Harden must play more under control on offense. And as we said, I mean, he does have those moments where it's, attack the basket and throw the ball up and hope you get fouled. And, if not, it's a brick or a turnover. And he was doing some of that tonight. But look, Harden played well. I said, I'm not going to get too harsh on him. And he'll learn from this game. So Zach Randolph in the third, honestly throughout the entire game, was killing Houston with offensive rebounds. Again, as I said, old man game. Can't run, can't jump, but he just gets such good position It's almost like he's on defense boxing out the other guy when it should be the other way around. I mean, I don't know how many times tonight Greg Smith was like out of position on, to get the defensive rebound, and Zach Randolph's just right there. Well, he's very good at that, and that's a real skill. Not a lot of guys are capable of doing that, or they just don't do it. But Zach Randolph is extremely good at that, and he's a heck of a player. He doesn't always get a lot of attention or as much credit as he deserves, but boy, can he play. I mean, he's a master at using his size and his positioning to rebound, and it was really hurt Houston a lot tonight. As I said, in the middle of the third quarter, then, that's when Jeremy was doing the thing with James Harden, the timeout, and, being a leader, etc. After that timeout, Jeremy went down the lane. He started getting into a mode where he wanted to attack. He wanted to attack on offense and draw fouls, and he started to do that. And I think he knew that the team needed him to score. And as I said, when he's a better shooter and stuff, when the team needs him, he's going to put up big numbers, like Linsanity 2.0, 1.0 numbers consistently. That will happen in the future when it needs to happen. He probably won't do it all the time because you don't want to be a ball hog and just shoot, 40 times like Kobe or Carmelo. But when he needs to do it, he'll be able to do it once his jump shot comes around and once he's able to draw fouls consistently. So he went right down the middle of the lane, got fouled, got 2 free throws, made 1 out of 2. That came with 5 minutes and 32 seconds left in the third quarter, and it made the score 60-50 for Memphis. Soon after that, he did the exact same thing. He was on the left-hand side of the lane, dribbled right across the lane, drew a foul on Mike Conley. Same thing. 2 free throws, made both of them. So I said, I've told you guys before, if you want to be a good scorer, you have to find ways to score. If your jump shot's not working, go to the basket. If you just, if you can't get points, whatever, you're missing shots, draw fouls. And Jeremy's getting better at that. And every great scorer has that. Kobe has it, LeBron has it, Dwayne Wade has it, Carmelo has it. They all know how to get fouls. And Jeremy's getting better and better with that. Patrick Beverley came in, and we had the small ball lineup with, 5 minutes left in the third quarter. At that point, Memphis was up 10, and it worked. It started working. The small ball lineup, which was Beverley, Lin, Harden, Terrence Jones, and Omer Asik. They started coming back. They started making a run. And as I said, it's a great lineup, and it works because you're getting the best of everything. As I said in the last game, you get Patrick Beverley's defense, you get Jeremy's scoring ability, Jeremy's passing ability, you get James Harden's scoring ability and passing ability, but you don't have Carlos Delfino playing power forward where he can't guard guys. So it's exciting. That lineup can do a lot, and it will, and it already has. One of the things that I noticed, and just made a note here, and we've talked about this before, and I know guys on the team have gotten upset about this before. Part of the problem with having James Harden as the ball handler when he's playing point is that he'll pass to guys with like 2 seconds left on the clock to shoot. And guys get mad about that because you're basically, you're giving them an automatic miss, and it hurts their stats. And, it's not good offense. So both Jeremy and James Harden still have a lot to learn about playing point guard. And it makes sense. James Harden's not a point guard, even though he handled the ball sometimes. And Jeremy's playing a lot of shooting guard, which he played at Harvard. And they're both young. So it makes sense that they still have a lot to learn. But they definitely have a lot to learn. And it's actually good because when they learn it, they're going to be even better. And then so I just made the note, yep, Jeremy played the entire third quarter again, and he started the fourth quarter and played the entire fourth quarter And the fourth quarter started with the same small ball lineup, or at least with the same three perimeter players, Patrick, Jeremy, and James Harden. As I said, Jeremy struggled in the first 8 minutes of the fourth quarter. The game was relatively close to start the fourth quarter. Now, that small ball lineup had gotten them back, but Memphis began to turn it up. They started turning up the defensive pressure, and they really got after Houston. And Jeremy started having a batch of turnovers. The first turnover came when he was going to just kind of hand the ball off to James Harden, and Tony Allen he just poked the ball away, and I believe drew a foul on Harden. That's the type of play that you'll be able to make 9 out of 10 times. But the 10th time, the guy's waiting for it, and he's gonna steal the ball, and that's exactly what Tony Allen did. And it's just something you learn from. I mean, it's just, again, you're playing a great defensive team, and Tony Allen's a great defensive player, and he made a play. So I'm not going to go crazy about that turnover. Soon after that, Jeremy got another turnover. Houston was on a fast break I think it was Harden, Beverly, and Jeremy on the fast break against one or two Memphis defenders. Harden passed the ball to Jeremy, and Jeremy wanted to pass the ball to Patrick Beverly, but he thought Patrick Beverly was going to be in one spot, and Patrick Beverly ended up going to another spot. So again, I mean, it's just that type of thing happens, and just more working on that and knowing what a guy's tendencies are will help remedy that type of turnover in the future. After that, Jeremy had a couple missed shots. He missed a three-pointer, and he missed a little runner in the lane. Then Jeremy had a third turnover of the game and of the fourth quarter for him, where he went into the lane on the left side, and I think the ball was stripped from him, and he really wanted a foul called, and it wasn't called. So it's almost like he kind of stopped trying on the play because he thought he got fouled, but they didn't call a foul. So he's kind of like, okay, I got fouled, but they didn't call it, so it counted as a turnover and a steal. I don't know I can't remember who it was that stole it. It might have been Mike Conley. And I made a little note here. At this point, it was 74-68 for Memphis. So this game had been close. It was like 66-66. And then Memphis started, again, they started turning it up. And Houston was starting to fade a little bit. And I put, Jeremy needs to pick it up right now. We need to see Mr. Fourth Quarter. And we were going to see that. It just wasn't quite time yet. Finally, with about 4 minutes left, or 4 minutes and 9 seconds or so left in the fourth, Jeremy got his final turnover of the game and his final difficult play of the fourth quarter. He got a charging call, which means you're the offensive player and you run into the defensive player. And not only is that a foul on you, it also counts as a turnover. So that was Jeremy's fourth turnover in about 8 minutes. And it was not looking good for Houston right then. I think Memphis went up by maybe 10 points or something right after that. And it was like, oh boy, Houston's going to kind of fold, and it's just not a good time for Jeremy, whatever. And then Mr. Fourth Quarter completely showed up the way that we figured that he would. Late in the fourth, soon after that turnover, the charging call, Jeremy forced a turnover against Mike Conley. Mike Conley was on the right baseline trying to find some room to get by Jeremy, and Jeremy shut off the baseline, meaning he made it so that there was no space between the baseline and him. And Mike Conley basically couldn't do anything, ended up going out of bounds, and great turnover and great defense by Jeremy. Soon after that, Jeremy hit a catch-and-shoot three from a pass by James Harden at about 25 degrees right of the top of the arc. That was a huge shot. Now Memphis, Memphis had made a run, and now Houston was trying to get momentum going back the other way, and Jeremy was leading the charge. Soon after that, Memphis missed a shot, and Jeremy got a big rebound in the middle of the lane in traffic. Guys were around him, and he basically went up and got the ball, even though there were big men from Memphis around him. Then, right after that play, well, it was the same play, actually. Jeremy got the rebound, turned around, went right, just racing up the court with his speed, had a no-look pass to Omer Ashik for a huge dunk. I mean, it was just a great bounce pass through the defense. It was through traffic, right to Omer on the left side of the rim, and Omer dunked it. That came with 2 minutes and 35 seconds left and made the score 76-73 Memphis. So Houston was only down 3 points, and Mr. Fourth Quarter showed up, and Memphis took a timeout because now, again, Jeremy was starting to take over, and everybody knew it, including Memphis. So they wanted to kind of, regroup. And if you saw, Jeremy was going towards a timeout, and he was bobbing his head up and down saying, yeah, come on, he's pumped up. The crowd was pumped up. And again, that's part of what makes Jeremy a leader. Basketball, like most sports, is a game of emotion. Jeremy can make plays like that play right there, the no-look bounce pass, that they're great. And so because the play looks great and is so energetic, it fires up your team and it fires up the crowd. And it's like sometimes those plays are worth more than like normal plays. And Jeremy's great at that. And he's clutch with it too. And that's why you see a lot of times he'll make these types of plays and the other team takes a timeout because it's like, we got to slow down the emotion. Because we know that those type of plays that Jeremy makes are so, they're so exciting that there is a lot of emotion around that, and that can turn the game around. The game got down to 76-75 for Memphis with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left. So Houston was only down by 1 point there. Then Memphis scored again. They were up 78-75. And as I said earlier, with 1 minute and 33 seconds left, Jeremy hit about a 26-foot three-pointer. So he's a couple feet behind the line. Catch and shoot from the left-hand side or whatever it was, 20 to 30 degrees left of the top of the arc, and just drilled it with a guy all over him. I mean, the crowd was just going crazy. So Houston had come back all the way from a 19-point deficit to tie it up with a minute and 33 seconds left. And, I mean, the place was going nuts. You could see it in the highlights, and it's great. Look, it's like Linsanity 1.0. I mean, Jeremy just has flair. He has style in how he plays. The crowd knows that, and they pick up on that, and that feeds their energy. And that's part of what makes Jeremy so unique. That's why I call him a maestro or a basketball genius. Everybody can pass the ball. Everybody can shoot a layup, but sometimes it's how you do it that differentiates you from other people. Jeremy has just an incredible amount of flair, and that matters in a game that's as emotional as basketball is. And it's great. It's so that's why Linsanity 1.0 was what it was. Yeah, underdog and all, but the way Jeremy plays is so awesome to watch. That's a big part of the excitement. The haters don't want to admit that. I actually saw a hater. It's hilarious. I actually saw a hater say last night or the other night, Jeremy can't make the basic pass. In other words, what the hater was basically saying was, Jeremy's too flashy. That's hilarious. Most of the guys that hate on Jeremy Lin like flashy players. They just don't like that Jeremy's flashy. So it's hilarious. But Jeremy does have that flair. And that is similar to Steve Nash and similar to some of these other great point guards. Houston, I just made a note here. Houston's legit. I mean, this was a serious comeback against a good team that was motivated for this game. If they can play like this, if they can play to their capabilities, they could have an upset in the playoffs. They could beat a San Antonio. I mean, they scared Memphis seriously in this game tonight. They really did. And if they play properly, they're really going to have a shot to make, to get something done in a series in the first round and maybe advance. So I'm very excited about the prospects. Okay, after that minute 33, great play. Unfortunately, that's when James Harden, he had one turnover, then Memphis missed, then and another turnover. We had 34 seconds left, and then Memphis made 1 out of 2 free throws. James Harden missed a three-pointer, and unfortunately, the thing that was so annoying about it was that Tony Allen was all over him, and Jeremy was standing to James Harden's right, wide open from 3, and James Harden passing the ball. That's a mistake. And again, on a different night, I'd be just furious. But I'm glad it happened because James Harden failed. And so next time, maybe you'll pass the ball to Jeremy. So sometimes you have to fail to make changes. Then finally, the score was 2 points. Memphis was up, I believe, 80-78. And Houston had the ball with about 6 seconds left. James Harden made a move, got his defender to actually fall down, and he had a wide open shot from the left free throw line extended from about 16, 17 feet. It just went in and out, and that was basically it. Memphis got the rebound, and that was basically it. So, look, James Harden struggled down the last minute and a half of this game, and he was mad afterwards. And like I said, look, it happens, but everybody's going to learn from this game. Everybody on Houston, and so I'd rather lose this game than lose a playoff game. So I think that this can actually help the team overall. Let Jeremy take a shot. Let Jeremy have a chance. I understand. James Harden's your money guy and the guy that you expect to get points when the game is close. And look, he's good at that. It just didn't work tonight. So, again, and finally with Jeremy, as I told you guys, if Jeremy's playing a lot of minutes, now I don't want him to play 45 minutes a game. As I said, that's too much. But if Jeremy's playing 35 minutes a game, guess what? His stats are going to go up. So even in this game, he didn't shoot that well. He still had 17 points. He still had 5 rebounds. He still had 5 assists. So if he plays more minutes, which he is now, his numbers are going to go up. Because, again, you can't score if you're not on the court. But now he is on the court more, and that's really, really good. Okay, the summary was tough loss, but it was a great game because of everything I pointed out. The team showed character. They came back against a great defensive team, and they were in a position to win this game. And Jeremy overcame his own struggles early in the fourth to show the full Mr. Fourth Quarter later in the fourth. So that's a good thing for him, and it was good for the team overall. Jeremy's becoming more of a leader. He's growing as a player, and he's playing more minutes. Mikhail's trusting him more, and Jeremy's playing calmer and with more confidence and saving his energy better within the game. And that is our great, great thing. Okay, it is currently about 1 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States, early on Saturday, April 13th, which means it is about 1 p.m. on Saturday, April 13th in Taipei, Taiwan. There's really not a lot of comments to answer because I've answered almost everything in the 3 videos that John and I did from the last game, or this playoff celebration and everything else. As I mentioned earlier, Soul Glow pointed out that Jeremy's elbow is affecting him on jump shots, and that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I don't know what the injury's from. I know people, video games, texting, whatever. You can get stuff every now and then, but is it affecting him? I don't know. Hopefully, if it is, it'll get better quick and they'll be done with it. Next game is Sunday, April 14th in the United States at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and that will take place in Houston, Texas against the Sacramento Kings, which means it'll take place on early Monday, April 15th in Asia, including at 7 a.m. in Taipei, Taiwan. Now, as I said, we need to win 46 games to ensure that we finish ahead of the Lakers. We must win that game against Sacramento, period. We have 2 more games. We have 2 games against teams that aren't that good, and then 1 game against a team that is good. I can't remember. The last game against the Lakers. I don't want to go into that game needing to win that game, because the Lakers need to win that game like to make the playoffs. Then there's a good chance they're going to win because we're playing in L.A. Our next 2 games are Sacramento and then Minnesota or something, Phoenix. We have to win the next 2 games. I'm okay with the loss tonight as long as we win the next 2 games. If we do that, everything's great. So Sunday or Monday, wherever you're at, is going to be a big game. And I expect the team to come out very focused and ready to win. That's it for now. Your comments below. Thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. We will have full information in the video description below the video player about how you can come and join the CNM Facebook group, which has over 2,500 members and growing. Game highlights, game stories, and the box score of tonight's game. Also information so you can go and check out the Facebook page for the artist of this work, Gary Chen. Also information for Hanny Chang, her YouTube page, and the Twitter page for the Jeremy Lin fan club, Lin Garden. All those 2, Hanny Chang and the Lin Garden, helped us to get the artwork from Gary Chen, and we appreciate that, as well as appreciate Gary's artwork. I am Paul of Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. We're in good shape, guys, even with the loss tonight. We just got to win the next 2 games. That's it. That's the only thing I care about right now. Again, I don't care if Jeremy plays poorly in the next 2 games and we win. Great. I want him to play well, but the most important thing now is win those 2 games. And so go into the Lakers game with it being meaningless for us. So we don't have to win that game to be where we want to be in terms of the playoff seeding. All right. I'll see you guys down in the comments. Looking forward to it, and hang in there. We're in the playoffs, and now we're almost where we want to be, and so it'll be fun to watch it all play out.